During Halloween 2024, two overweight guys attempted to cycle across South Korea. Completing the infamous cross-country cycle route within 7 days would win us a gold medal. The experience would leave one of us scarred for life. We later found out the certification center is actually closed on Mondays, so we only had 6 days. But also, due to someone, let's call him Mikey, booking our hotel in the wrong bloody place, we were left with just 5. Ugh. Hey Mikey, fun fact, you know that over those hills over there is actually North Korea?
Well, let's go that way.
A few moments later.
Hey? People were coming that way, right? I don't know. Maybe it's that way. No, I don't know. Oh well. Let's just go that way. 2 minutes in and we're already lost. Great start. Let's find out what's coming up on Walker.
You feel that?
Less than 5 minutes and we're already lost. We got no chance of doing this, Mike.
Morning everyone and welcome to South Korea. In this video you're going to see two very much non-cyclists attempt to cycle from the capital city of Seoul to the stunning landscapes of Busan. We had 3 days and nights in Seoul before the cycle, so we decided to head out to get some bearings of the city, where we saw the drone show and some of the other popular sites. Of course, one night was officially Halloween, so we decided to dress up. But we didn't want to spend too much money. In fact, we'd mostly been spending our cash on things like Tottenham beers. Absolutely awesome. The night before the cycle, we actually had walked over 25 kilometers and drank so many beers that we'd totally forgot we were cycling the next day and hadn't planned where or how we're supposed to start from.
Yeah, how is the beer though?
So I guess I should explain the route for people who are actually interested in cycling and not watching a bunch of random clips from two drunken 41-year-olds. You can get this handy map from the website below. It's not the only route, but it was one that matched our random ambition. Each bike icon marks a sort of red telephone booth where you can stamp your passport to prove you were there. You can pick this passport up at any certification center for about 2 or 3 quid. And at the end, you can get a gold medal. I've never won a medal in my entire life, so I just had to have one. Mistake 1 was booking our hotel on the cycle route, but 50 kilometers from the start line and the first 5 stamps. So after picking up our bikes, they only had a medium-sized bike for me, I had to convince Mike to cycle back to the start, knowing that we'd be straight away turning around and heading back. However, the promise of a gold medal, and I mean, it's only cycling, how hard can it be? So we decided to give it a try anyway. This video will be about tackling what seemed a nearly impossible task, giving our limited cycling experience and overcoming each challenge as it came and seeing how far we could just push ourselves. Mike was preparing for a post-ride trip to Thailand. He had packed more clothes than I did, so in a bid to help, I gave him my pannier bag and just carried my own on my back. That was mistake 2. For those wondering, the total rental cost per bike for 5 or 6 days was about £100 plus £50 to drop them off in Busan. A quick online search and you'll find many similar rental options. If you're new to biking, here are some tips. First of all, you want to make sure that your foot can be completely flat on the ground so that you can always get on and off the bike pretty quickly. You're going to want to make sure that you've been vaping for at least 6 months so that you've got hardly any lung capacity. Obviously, helmets. Don't need one of those. You're going to want to make sure that you've packed everything in one big bag and it's super heavy. You don't need any of those pannier things. The natural weight of the bag will push you down onto the ground, so it'll make you go a lot faster. I'm only kidding. You don't need any of that. All you need is some good music, quit the moaning, and crack on.
You think you're tough enough? Do it. You think you're strong enough? Want it. It's time to rough it up. Feel it. It's feeling dangerous. Prove it. Take aim, show time. Game on, spotlight.
And 4 stamps, 23 to go.
Yeah, my stuff.
Busan.
And that wraps up day 1. We'd cycle over 120 kilometers. Unfortunately, most of it to get to the start, meaning 147 average per day was now required. You can see why I called this the impossible cycle now, right? The next morning we were keen to crack on, but wow, my ass had grown an ass overnight. How on earth do people cycle on these things? Anyway, today will be a fantastic day of meeting new people, smashing some stamps, seeing some incredible sights, with an ending that will end the cycle for one of us. Dramatic. Speaking of meeting new people, a big shout out to Edmund, Anthony and Ronnie, 3 awesome guys from Singapore, which is lucky as I speak their language fluently. We kept bumping into them during our journey. Me and Mike would race ahead only to get lost and allow these guys to catch up. Super nice guys, and we stayed connected throughout the whole trip.
So, based on how far we've gone today, so far, we estimate that we've got about 8 or 9 more hours of cycling ahead of us before we get to the Airbnb hotel thing. Which means it's going to be very dark before we get there. And we've only got 5 hours sleep before we have to do it all over again. Brilliant. Come on, Mike, look how fast they're going.
We'd been cycling since dawn and our asses were seriously hurting at this point, but we struck gold with a roadside bike repair shop. The kind owner had gel seats, gloves and water. Absolutely perfect, right? Except for when we tried to pay. My 3 cards and Mike's all failed, so off I went on a 10-kilometer round trip detour to the nearest ATM, only to find out that didn't work either. Nearly an hour wasted and we had to return everything. On the bright side, those 40 minutes with a gel seat were the comfiest of the entire trip. And just our luck, the one time our cards failed the entire journey. So I'm not blaming the card machine, but I'm kind of blaming the card machine.
South Korea is about 85% hills, so that's where they got a lot of these tunnels. I think there's like 15, 16 tunnels to go through, which are quite flat. But we're expecting at least 1 kilometer of incline today, so that's what you need when you're completely knackered and haven't slept properly for a week.
Passing another passport stamp telephone booth thingy bob, and finally we were rewarded with some big, long, epic straights and some incredible views. Of course, we're still on the wrong bloody road, but that was an easy fix. For me. We also had to stumble over this bridge, which despite being massively behind, I still wanted to make a semi-interesting video, and this is probably one of the best drone shots I've ever taken. With only a few hours until the sun dropped, opposite a huge dam, we'd found another bike shop.
Hi, hello.
What's your name?
My name is Stella Han.
And this is your shop?
Yes, my shop. My song is Korean Meister.
Korean Meister?
Yes, well around the pounder.
Oh, okay. Brilliant.
And
you get a free coffee.
Cycle content is YouTuber.
Yeah.
Cycle content.
Me too. Yeah.
YouTuber name is Cycle content.
Oh, cycle content.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
I'll link you.
Okay,
I'll find
okay.
you.
I still can't find her, but let me know if you do. Finally, I had a Chelsea and this mask, which later Mike would tell me looks like some child's pants, so I took it off. And for those wondering, I also got a cable to tie my bag to the bike rack. Over the dam, and I'd managed to cut myself on my bike. Before we cycled through a little park and I found some rabbits I could wipe my finger on. Got your gay gloves there, Mike? Yeah, you are cool.
Hey, good luck. There's ever a war with Korea now, South Korea. I'm friends with them.
We then finally hit some of the hills, but they were pretty short and yet still give us some real insights as to why some people don't like cyclists.
Pocari Sweat, energy drinks, water, Pocari Sweat, coffee, caffeine. Nobody likes cyclists.
Mike, can I have a go on your vape? Oh, that's cool. Where'd you plug it in?
Yeah, mine's better.
With over 12 hours of cycling done and the sun beginning to look really awesome, our next issue was finding a hotel. We hadn't booked anything and seemingly there was nothing around us that had any vacancies.
I don't know if you can see me. 7 o'clock at night. I haven't eaten anything for about 6 hours. And I know that you burn like 200, 300 calories an hour. So I burned quite a few calories. And I am shaking. Mike hasn't had anything, a protein bar or something. We've ran out of water, but we found a toilet, so hopefully we can just drink out of the sink, not the actual toilet, obviously. And there's about 6 hotels nearby, and all of them are sold out. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. Other than I'm really fucked off. We'll figure it out. Even if I got to walk or carry Mike and his bike to the nearest hotel and spend $10,000. We'll find something. But what an afternoon. Pitch black. And I can't read. Oh, God. Just realized I couldn't reach my brake while I was filming. Who's good? Who can see us? Oh, okay, go.
90 minutes more cycling in pitch black and we finally were able to reach a town and stock up on essential vitamins and nutrients required to recover your body after a very long day of cycling.
Oh, I love cider, but that is the best first sip of a cider I've ever had.
Meow. Hello, baby.
After filming a cat and then being asked to take this photo by a lovely group of people, it would be another 2 hours before we could figure out how to book into a nearby unmanned hotel.
So, after a super long day, me and Mike have found 5 different hotels. None of them will let us check in because 3 of them are fully booked. One of them needs a confirmation code, and one of them I've booked, but I didn't get an email.
Big thanks to my wife for helping us out there. Despite me being burnt, Mike had told me that at some point earlier he had rolled his ankle and it was really starting to hurt, so we'd have to wait until the morning to make a decision on it. Day 2 ended at 1 AM after 5 cans of cider and somehow we'd only covered 120 kilometers. We now needed 156 kilometers each day for the next 3 days if we had any chance of claiming this medal. Big announcement, early next year I'll be walking 20 plus days from northern Thailand back to Bangkok. Daily live streams, giveaway, all in aid to raise awareness of the man that rescues dogs. Community tab, Patreon to stay up to date with all my really dumbass ideas.
Yeah. Pretty scary. Not being able to see. Been cycling with one hand on my own. Oh God, where am I?
As those of you that follow the community tab already know, Michael's ankle was indeed shot. Just like in Japan, I was solo again. Having left Mike 200 kilometers from the capital, stranded and limping, I'd been cycling for a few hours now in this mist, exhausted, confused, and damn hungry as there were no shops that seemed to be open yet. I was certainly feeling depressed at this point as I was worried about my friend, and frankly, the only person in these videos that should get hurt should always be me. My knees were killing me because my seat was too low, and of course I didn't have an Allen key to fix it. But hey, my butt was hurting so badly too, it took my mind off the rest. But all I could think about at this point was food. We had eaten everything we bought in the shop last night, so I've been cycling for roughly 4 hours now with just water. This sign telling me of some pretty dramatic inclines didn't help matters, but luckily I had no idea I was on that map, so I'll just deal with it when it comes. Suddenly, 55 kilometers away from where I had left Mike, my luck began to change.
What a difference 5 minutes makes. Oh yes. Suntan lotion on my face, my bag packed with energy drinks and chocolate bars. Let's fricking... Why the hell is the river on my left now? Oh god, hang on. Wrong way. Unbelievable, Chris. Okay. Suntan lotion on my face. My bag packed with energy drinks and chocolate bars. Let's freaking go.
Travelers on the road, there are so many. Each and one just looking for a friend. Reasons to give in, there are plenty. So lend your fellow man a helping hand. Walk along. Raise your voice and sing a joyful song. You can leave your heavy load by the side of this old road and walk along in the morning.
Hands down the weirdest choice I've ever made for a video, but after 13 hours of cycling, I'd found myself in what can only be described as a drive-in sex hotel. Pull up, shut it down, head upstairs to a neon-lit paradise stocked with body lotion and enough condoms to make me question my life choices. With no South Korean girls in sight, I decided to share my time here with Tom Hanks and a giant pizza, my first hot meal in 5 days, and day 3 had ended surprisingly by hitting 180 kilometers, meaning the average per day total could actually go down. With just 2 days of cycling left, the toughest challenge would be today. This part of the cycle is infamously known as the barren 100 kilometers, with 0 convenience stores for several hours and then massive steep inclines at the end. But I had pizza inside me, a bag packed with Snickers bars, 4 massive hours of sleep, and big dreams of reaching another 200 kilometers to give myself less stress on the final day. The issue I had today was like every other day. Roughly until 10 AM, for some reason my Korean SIM card data wouldn't turn on, leaving me to navigate using the sun and the road signs, which were all in Korean. Plus, there are hundreds of other bike routes around. On each of the 5 days of cycling, I estimate we had gotten lost well over 20 times, including on this day where I had cycled for 90 minutes following the wrong bloody bike path, leaving me with no choice but to turn around and waste close to 3 hours of my morning. I'd later worked out I'd lost nearly 9 kilograms over these 5 days, a world record perhaps. Paired with lack of sleep, mental fatigue of filming, navigating massive hills, and a little bit of loneliness, it will probably explain why my face now looked like this.
Ed, my knees are really beginning to hurt. From being sat on the saddle, I can put my feet flat down to the ground, which I know is usually a bad thing, right? Just deal with the knee pain and the back pain. And definitely the neck pain. And put a positive spin on it. This is epic.
Now I know what you're thinking. Oh Walker, you progressively ugly man, most cyclists can easily reach speeds up to 20 kilometers an hour. Therefore, over a 10-hour period, you should easily be reaching your 200 kilometer targets. And what I'll say back to you, fictitious conversation partner, is no, that's not how it works. When you take into account getting lost, toilet breaks, changing something in the bag, simply checking the phone for directions, looking for food, and of course, massive 18% incline hills, then I'd recommend to any average cyclist wanting to take this route, target about 100 kilometers per day and you'll be more than happy.
Oh no. Oh. Come on. Here's the power of the Viking.
After 100 kilometers down, I was glad to see I wasn't the only person having issues with these hills. Now, it wasn't these lovely people, but shortly after, I'd met 2 older gentlemen from Australia who had completely ran out of water. I reminded them that this is the barren area and there shouldn't be any convenience stores coming up for at least 4 more hours, but I decided to give them my big bottle of Bacardi Sweat and some chocolate biscuits, leaving me with just half a bottle of water for the remaining journey. I certainly would regret doing that because by the end of the day, given the hills and the fact that it rained for like 12 hours straight, I started to get really dizzy, most likely from exhaustion and being massively dehydrated. However, thinking back for how bad it got for me, I'm sure it would have been way worse for them, so if I had to do it again, I would.
300 kilometers in 2 days now. I'm so tired. I'm so wet. I'm so cold. The faster I go, the colder it becomes. Still, that gold medal. I've never won anything in my entire life, so have a gold medal would be the first thing I ever could appreciate. I gotta get it. It's driving me on. Big thanks to Tin. Hill, hang on. Now I know why he's going so slow.
After many kilometers and having cycled from 5 a.m, I arrived absolutely soaking wet, dehydrated at my hotel at 11 p.m. I hadn't bothered filming too much because with everything wet, I was cold, meaning no drone, I couldn't clean the lenses, and overall, like I say, I was just trying to do my best not to die of thirst. But I'd smashed 195 kilometers, leaving me with a very highly achievable final day.
Words that come out, and I can see the song will be about you. I can't believe that I can breathe without you, but all I need to do is carry on. The next line I write down, and there's a tear that falls between the pages. I know that pain's supposed to heal in stages, but it depends which one I'm standing on. I write lines down, then rip them up, describing love can't be this tough. I could set this song on fire, send it up in smoke. I could throw it in the river and watch it sinking slowly. Tie the pages to a plane and send it to the moon. Play it for the world, but it won't mean much.
Back in Thailand, I know this guy called Liger. He owns this farm. I think he feeds crayfish to goats or something like that. And he always says at the end of each of my videos, I always have some sort of somber reflection moment. And as we're only 10 kilometers away from Busan, it's the end of the video. Well, this video is going to be no different.
For the past couple of days, I've been physically burnt out, but the toughest part was facing 24 hours a day with myself. I'm 41. I don't have any standout skills or qualifications, I just know how fragile life is. And on this cycle across South Korea, I'd realized something that I'd never fully appreciated. I actually do have a talent, the ability to push myself far beyond what I thought were my limits. If just a handful of people see my channel, I hope they remember me as someone who didn't just talk about doing stupid things, but actually did them. And maybe, just maybe, that will reflect into their lives too. So if you have a want, a dream, a conversation that you've been putting off, just go do it, man. You can't plan everything. Sometimes, yes, life is scary, challenges will come, but you'll face them, you'll smash them, and you'll feel absolutely alive. And after 5 days and well over 700 kilometers, I'd reached the final turn, the final stamp. I'd collected 27 stamps in both mine and Mike's passport, but when I went to get the medal, I was told they were changing suppliers. No delivery options, meaning basically I couldn't have one. Here you can see me with the display model that I had to put back. And suffering from mental exhaustion here, to my shame, I'd completely broken down. Thanks to Mike for filming that, wanker. Over the next 24 hours, reunited with Mike, we had explored Busan, and the sick feeling of missing out on that medal through no fault of my own slowly faded. I realized it's just a piece of tin. The journey itself was more than enough to remember this. So what about the scar for life? Or was that just clickbait, Chris? No. I talked a local shop into letting me doodle on my arm for the first ever self-drawn tattoo as a stark reminder of how freaking much I hate cycling. Because that's why people get tattoos, I think, right? The destination was a tattoo shop in Busan after 700 kilometers of damn near killing myself. But the journey was all yours. I'll see you again soon.
could set this